Good evening and welcome back to the Journey Planner. We're back 2nd of August with another series on country living. And this evening we got Ernest and Rona with us, joining us, talking about seek ye first the kingdom. And as usual, before we get into our presentation this evening, I'd like to share with you where you can find us. So there's a few options that you have. I'm just going to quickly share my screen so that you can see where you can find us and where you can connect with us. So the first place you can go to is the website, which is www.thejourneyplan.co.uk. And as you can see, the left-hand corner, there's our email address, couple of contact numbers. You can reach out to us and you can, if you've got a story that you would like to share, that would be beneficial to our audience, then feel free to reach out to us and we can make something happen. You can watch us live on our Facebook channel. You can see our handle is the Journey Planner SDA, and there you can see our recordings, our Facebook page is there. And obviously we are live on YouTube at present. And again, YouTube, if you want to catch up with any of the presentations that we've had, you can catch up with us via YouTube. All the presentations that we've recorded over the last couple of years are there, including this evening's one will be there. And if there's anything you've missed, you can catch it then. And also I'd encourage you to prepare your questions, because as Ernest and Rona share with us, there may be questions that you'd like to ask them to tease out more information about what they've shared. And it's a good opportunity. We always aim to give time towards the end of their presentation for there to be some Q&A. So if you're watching live on YouTube, just put your questions in the live chat. If you're on Facebook, same thing. And if you're in the Zoom meeting, just feel free to just type in the chat, your questions. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over the time to Ernest and Rona to introduce us to who they are. Some of you may be familiar because they've been on here before. They've shared some of their testimony. So, but as we're boundaryless, let's say, for want of a better word, there may be some of you that this is the first time you're meeting or hearing Ernest and Rona. So we'd like to give them an opportunity now to share who they are. Thank you.
Thank you, Trevor. Just to make sure everything's fine, you can hear me well.
Yep, can hear you perfectly fine.
Great, brilliant, brilliant. Okay, we've been having a little trouble up here. Just the connection. The weather turned a bit rainy, and so it does, for some reason, impinge on our connectability to the world outside of our little area.
Yeah, that is very true. It's
I'm
like changing
Ernest,
the weather.
and my wife is yeah, yeah. My wife is Rona. We've been married for 21 years. I'm from Leicester originally. My wife is a Nottingham lass, and I stole her from under the nose of Robin Hood and got away with it. We moved to the Caribbean after we started digging deeper into the Word and meeting with people. It wasn't just us. People came along and they spoke with us. Health, um, challenging us in regards to our health, our reforms, Sabbath, dress, church life. All of these started to be questioned and challenged. And we started digging into the Word. We then started seeking country living and a space. And I wish we had done it when I had some funds and I was working for BP, a company medic for BP, flying all over the world. And my wife was working for HMRC. Is it Werner? Yes. But nonetheless, we're here. But we sought a piece of land, sought somewhere to go, and an opening um, occasioned itself in Jamaica. So we decided we'd go there for 10 years. Eden, I think he's our firstborn of seven. He was 7 years old, I believe, at the time, approximately.
We seem to have lost you, Ernest. Are you still with us? Or
Five. We had Couture. She was two conceived. And
okay, this must be due to the weather changes that they're having up there. Oh,
okay, so we went to Jamaica for 10 years. We had Tabitha, the last one of our seven there, as well as Israel. And we came back in 2023 and waited for us for that wonderful Scotland. We are in Aberdeen, the seat of Balmoral, and unfortunately, who's just 2 miles from us. And um, so we when we got this, we want to move straight there. And Sister Cornwall, Joan Cornwall, no, no, you've got to give a testimony on that. It was such an amazing experience of faith. We didn't have any money. Bid for the property. It was an auction. Didn't have anything to pay for it. Um, and an hour and a half later, we'd deposit, and within less than a week, we had all the to acquire. And it was on God's hand. We went to presented a testimony, and we were brought together in groups, and we yeah, we needed to come together and work together to further the cause of the Lord and getting His people out. And we started time living from then. It had approximately 6 people, and we have about four now, all joining together in various ways and sharing and encouraging. It has been an amazing journey, and I've never before have I had I've had a passion for the Lord. I've loved the Lord. I've loved the Word. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Um, and then, but I never. I always used to wonder why I didn't have the same passion for the souls of men. I would do perfunctory because it was to be done. Um, but I didn't have that. Since I've started in this ministry, I have developed, and one of us will both concur, it's the same. We developed a love for the brethren that we've never had before. It's been fantastic. And I'm really glad that the Father's given us this ministry. That's why this evening's presentation is called Seek Ye First. And that's taken from Matthew 6, 33. And it says, But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And people worry a lot about the concerns, how they're going to do this and how they're going to do that. Just bear with me as a vehicle goes by. Um, he says that he will sort of make everything you need, and it's not just for you personally, it's for you to complete his work. We are his servants. We are doing his work. And I think a lot of people forget that we are servants who do his work will.
We are to um, um, put his shoes on his feet. We are to put his cloak on his shoulders. We are to tie his belt. We are to make sure he's rightly attired before he can go out. Then we will sit down and eat our own food. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And it itself with us. It was a struggle trying to get work with my disability. I broke my neck when I was in Jamaica. That's another story. Um, and it has been a struggle. But when we put our all into doing the two camp meetings that we've just had, he then sent people around and said, "Look, would you like to work with me?" Total strangers, meet them passing by the house, and he's invited me into work just round the corner. Couldn't have asked for better. And that's why I thought that's what it needs to be entitled: Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Right. One of the things that we really wanted to do was to have a camp meeting. In scripture, the men of God are to meet 3 times a year at the feast, selected feast, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which we often call Passover, the Feast of Pentecost, commonly known, but it's often known as the Feast of Weeks or Shabbat, and then Sukkot, which is Tabernacles, the last feast in the year. 3 feasts. So we had a camp meet, and even Ellen G. White advocates that we should meet, the children of God should come together as the children of Israel did, and at their feast times and fellowship and share and learn and go back to do their works in the fields and those places. So we had decided to have that camp meeting, and that occurred. The first one, as I said, was at Passover, and it was entitled "With One Accord," and that was fit actually because it started. I think the last day of camp was feast of Passover, the Feast of Weeks, 50 days after um, Passover, the Feast of Weeks. So we thought, let's have it at the Feast of Weeks. And it was brilliant. We came together and we had a fantastic time. Now, Rona has got the slides because we're having difficulty connecting on the computer. So she's going to start sharing the slides. Okay, so this was the flyer for our first camp meeting. This was in Ayrshire at Justin and Rosanna Coquette's place. They have 100 acres up there, and we invited parties to come. It was only approximately £190 for 5 days, and we had a lot of activities planned for it. And it was an excellent. All right. All right. So we'll try and go through as quickly as we can because we've wasted a lot of time trying to get the connections going. Okay, so the first camp was at the Three Angels Farm in Scotland. That was at Justin and Rosanna Coquette's place. They were a fantastic host. I would recommend them. There were also extras that they did. Rosanna did a lot of lymphatic drainage, colonics. I had one. Yeah, excellent, excellent, and the food was top drawer. I couldn't fault it, and we got one of the things which was really good. All the presenters that we had, they all did it free, and they volunteered their time, and it was great. So this was the program that we had from Thursday to 21st through to Monday. And there was from different people there. You could see the registration was in the evening, and there was a fire starting and tent setups before we had food. We had to change that slightly because people hadn't arrived all together as what we'd expect. We had digestive walks, different workshops, food, fermentation and canning, sustainable gardening, off-grid cooking, heat retention, wilderness survivals. We had spiritual emphasis from Pastor Robert Hines, my brother who was over from the US, so he was able to do the spiritual leadership in this aspect. So that was all very good. And we went through these things. So here we have Robert doing fire starting and charcoal making. That was an excellent workshop. And I must admit, I was in the group that didn't do terribly well. We then went into looking after our all and dental health. That was by Marisha Giovanni from the Darlington Church. And she did an excellent, everyone was really, really happy about this with regards to how things were presented, and everyone got a lot of freebies, so they'd go away with some a dental powder which you could use to brush your teeth, etc. Here we go into retention cooking, powerless cooking. This was by Wendy Jackson. Now, Wendy Jackson is from Florida, from the US, and she is a master gardener and an extraordinarily well resourced woman with regards to knowledge. If you want to know anything about heat retention, fermentation, cannings, and also the spiritual life, she was excellent. And she came over from Florida, did not charge as well. We paid for a flight, we didn't, but she didn't charge us, and it was excellent, excellent. And these are some of the aspects she presented as well, and different ways of reducing your fuel cost, and also by reducing your time you would spend. So you have more time spent actually working in the ground. Whereas a lot of the time we have is spent in the kitchen doing the culinary arts. But our food and diet is to become more simple. And that's one of the things she illustrated. And it's obviously plant-based. But you suddenly realize when you're in the country, it's a challenge trying to manage everything. You've got so much to do. Ground agricultural work takes a lot of time and physical time as well, physical effort. And if we could reduce that, the requirement to get firewood, if we can reduce that, the time spent there in the kitchen, you can release some of that energy to be placed. Yeah, and because we are coming into this no buy, no sell. We are going to be restricted. You will only, if you want to carry on in the system, you will have to bow and kowtow to what the system requires. The pressure you see coming out from the US and all the other strong-handed people, it will show you. It's clear. It is here. If we look, the Bible talks about the plagues. It's slowly cranking up. The sun is not going to suddenly one day be cool and nice, and the other day suddenly go hot. It is getting hotter slowly. It's increasing. Let's go on. So this is Otto. Some of you might know him, Kashashian. He's in the tech, into computers, etc., and all that sorts of stuff, and tech security as well. But he does wonderful extracurricular activities. And he did wilderness survival workshops, and they were really good. He was an excellent help in the camp, an excellent help. This is in Ayrshire. I recommend his, if you want to get to know anything with regards to solar, etc. He's excellent. Fire starting, some of the equipment you will need. That slide is clipped. Sabbath Vespers, beautiful evening. We had that with Justin, and he told us his testimony. He was wheelchair bound for many years, couldn't move. And then he came into the knowledge of the Lord, and the Lord asked him why he was sitting in that chair. And he asked the Lord, why am I sitting in the chair?
And he got up out of the chair after praying to the Lord. Got up. So much so that when his carer came, because he was, dependent, she didn't realize he was standing there looking at her. And she walked by him. And then she sort of swung around and realized he's standing and she screamed out loud. It's an amazing testimony, amazing testimony. And they've only just gone forward with that from strength to strength. It's really a powerful, beautiful evening by the fire, listening to the wonderful testimony and beautiful singing. Singing, by the way, this is us. This is our family, apart from the little one at the front. Um, whose child is he? It's his grandson, somebody's grandson, I believe. We composed a song and we sang it for Sabbath as well. So that's the family. Oh, my wife says she can play it at the end. Oh. Okay. All right, go on. Thank you. And we had daily digestive walks. You can see the beautiful environment we're in, and everyone's there, and it was just great. People came who weren't really wanted to come, but about 2 days into the camp, they were so involved in it and getting on with the tents, and people was really just fantastic. We had a really good experience as well. One of the people who was attending on this was Thursday. It started. They've seen a property on a Monday and hadn't viewed it, but they put forward it to present it to the Lord, and the Lord said go forward, and they acquired the property on Thursday. They fasted from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and they acquired the property on Thursday. And it was just like the Lord was saying, I'm ready to do my stuff. Are you ready to do yours? I can do my stuff. Can you do yours? So yeah. Then there's the next slide. We have Jackie and Yvonne Narcisse. They did an excellent soap making workshop presentation, and this is all the stuff they sell as well. And I would recommend you patronize them because they are extremely generous. They presented all of this stuff. They gave loads of all the things that people are making here. It was all things that they could take away. Oh, the place smelled heavenly afterwards. It just smelled fantastic. And everyone was involved and everyone had a great time doing this. So it was excellent. So you can see people are there. This was in one of the rooms, the teaching room, that they had all the stuff set up. There's different fragrances that they could choose. People went out and got flowers. This is now food preservation. This was a kimchi, making kimchi, and that's Otto making his man hands and really kneading together the cabbage, and people were whooping him on. It was really great. That's fun as well. So yeah, and Wendy was showing how to do it, and this is the end result. And you let that ferment, and you've got so much more nutrient value released for your body, for your gut health as well, and for you to get into your system. Really good stuff that we've learned, which was handy and it was all from Wendy. Wendy's a lot from when here she is. This is syntropic. Oh, this was double digging. That's what we did here. And she was going into she's a master gardener. Now, Wendy travels the world. She came from, was it Liberia she came from? She just finished in Liberia, a stopover in Florida, and then flew out to us. And then she had a bit of break, and then she was off again somewhere else. She travels the world, North and South America, Africa, Asia, teaching retention, cooking, syntropic gardening, how to really best go back to the Lord. One of the aspects that people kind of forget is that city living was ordained by the adversary. It's not ordained by the Father. We were created to be in a garden like this, to be sharing, to be growing, to be eating the food direct from the ground, trusting in Him, depending on Him. And we really need to get back in so many ways. We've gone away from it, even the way we garden. I grew up with my dad and allotments, and every weed had to be plucked out, and you'd see everything looking pretty. Now, when you start, and you'll see some of the slides when we get to Wales, she said, everything has a covering.
And it's sin that makes you lose your covering. The Ark of the Testimony has the covering cherubs. The sanctuary has its coverings. The earth also is covered, and it's trying to replace that. Every time we scar it and mar it, it wants to replace that covering, and it's best suited when it has its covering in place. Water can get down by the roots into the soil. You have the webs of systems underneath in the soil, connecting one with another, distributing water from one area to another. These are all things we learned about, and how things work best together. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. This was in, as you can see, in Ayrshire, where people were doing various things, clearing out brush and then using that brush to cover the soil afterwards. And people came from local areas from all over um, the country, really, to attend the class. Um, and you can see, who's that? The Sheldine. Okay, so we've got onto our orienteering. This is Arto. We have to be prepared. Today, we had one of our challenges talk about it, which was going out. We've had 3 challenges this year. The first one was no grocery shop. The second one was no electricity. And the third one for the year is getting out and walking and trying your equipment and becoming familiar with it. And so knowing where to walk and how long it's going to take you, what you're going to need is very important. So Alta was taking us through an orienteering, and we had that in the Wales camp as well, also. And that was by Ian Moore. We'll see that slide later on. At the end of the presentation in Ayrshire, Robert had to leave and return back to Florida, but he did some excellent. But he's done them in Fulham and different other places, Northampton, in that trip. But there are 4 aspects of people you need in your outpost. You need your cook, you need your spiritual leader, you need your farmer. What was the other one, darling? Go back. Okay. Doctor. And you need a doctor. Okay. So those 4 aspects you need. Every outpost needs that type of person there. And then everything else will flow around. You don't need a teacher. Okay. You don't need, because all of these will be facilitated, everyone teaching. But you need these aspects in your outpost. And this is what we've got to look at. Your country living abode is not just your home. It's an outpost into enemy territory. It's a forward observation post. For those of you in the military like myself, it's a FOP, just depending on where you want to talk about it. But it's a forward observation post. And that's where you'll observe the enemy. Every now and then you'll run out and capture some and bring them back, get some information, and you'll be able to assault the enemy at due times. So that is what your home country life is to be. It's not just about you being able to have some food during when the time of no buy, no sell, and then and take off from there. It's about doing his work, a ministry. So when you've got your outpost, when at the end of the camp, for your outpost, these are the things that you're going to need to have. You're going to commit and prioritize. You're going to fast and pray. You're going to learn the voice of God. You're going to set a date. You need a vision board. You're going to use a fleece. Let's come back. We'll come back 1 minute. You're going to downsize and pack. You're going to seek properties. Go out and view the land as the children of Israel did in the wilderness. You're going to make short lists of them. You're going to take a step of faith. You're going to be prepared for tests, challenges. And when you succeed, when you've overcome, when you've learned to trust and depend on him, you're going to set up monuments like Abraham did everywhere he went. He set up an altar so people coming after would know. You will set up a monument to make sure you remember how the Lord led you. For we have nothing to fear except as we forget how the Lord has led us and his teachings in our past history. This is a very important aspect. Remember the Sabbath day, a memorial of his creation was set in time. We are to set up monuments as well to remember how the Lord has led us. This is important. So this was is one of his last screens that he made sure we would take away, and a lot of people, captured this and have it. We go into Wales. This was the second one, shortly followed after. A little tired by now. My wife left me, went back home because she wanted to get into the ground, and I was there with Couture, my eldest daughter, and Matthias. And this is the agenda again. And I was on my own this time, so it was a very challenging, and we had to get people in to do the spiritual leadership aspects. But one of the things for the second camp, it was we will all go, and that's taken from Exodus 10. And Pharaoh, modern day system, wants to separate you. He's always wanted to separate fathers, sons. That's why he will bring, the fathers and turn it back to the sons, and the hearts of the sons to the fathers. That's the adversary is about separation, separating Adam and Eve, Adam from God, and them from the garden and the tree of life. It's always about separation. We will all go. Pharaoh said, no, you just take just the men go, or just go with your sheep. And every time Moses goes, we will all go. One of the challenges we found was that a lot of the people are quite mature, or they're single, or they're ladies on their own. And this was really a challenge. Now, there is a wonderful lady who came to the Ayrshire camp in Scotland, Sister Bola. She's lovely, but she is challenged. She uses a frame, like a Zimmer frame, a walker. And she went to the Ayrshire camp, which was relatively comfortable. But the camp now that was going to be in Wales, Ceredigion, it was intense. I was like, what? She wants to come here as well? And I was like, oh no, what's she gonna? And then the Lord just came and told me, we will all go. We have to all go. How do we all go? We have to accommodate. We have to make room. We have to be accommodating with those people who are sometimes inconvenient. Just like Yahshua was tired, and the disciples, when the women brought their children, drove them away. He goes, whoa, 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 whoa. Suffer the little children. Suffer. Just like Moses suffered when he gave a bill of divorce. He goes, suffer. It's inconvenient. It's challenging. Yes, I know. But they must come. And he took them up into his lap and he blessed them all. To accommodate people, to allow them to be a part of this group, it's going to take sacrifice. It's going to take suffering. So when Sister Bola came up, somebody had to go down and get her. And then we, instead of putting her in a tent, we made accommodation in the host's home next door to them. There's accommodation there. And the person who lived there went out and stayed elsewhere. They accommodated. And true Christian spirit was saying, this was a lesson for us to learn. Because when the children of Israel left Egypt, they were traveling. And all the mighty men and the men of war were with Moses at the front. And all the people, the old people like me, tottering along who can't walk so well, they're at the back, or the mothers with the children, they're at the back, or the guy who followed the sheep and fell down and broke his foot, he's at the back. They're at the back of the line, choking on the dust, taking their time because they can't move so fast. Then the Amalekites came down from the hills, swept down. And by the time the message had come up the line to the front, to the vanguard, where Moses and the mighty men were, the Amalekites had done their job and gone back. So by the time they got back down to the bottom of this 2 million man mile, or 2 million people walking, all they saw was carnage. Now, to accommodate, to make sure that that didn't happen, he had to take some of those mighty men of war and make sure the baggage train was well protected. Or he had to move the baggage train into the either way it was, and they had to sacrifice something, but he was making sure they all left. And that's what we needed to do. That was the Wales camp. It taught a lot. And I will share that with you, that we have to accommodate. We can't let people, just because they're uncomfortable and makes it difficult for us. Oh, well, it's not wet. No, we will all go. And you'll find that in Exodus 10, verse 9. Get that verse. Okay, here's Ian Moore, a wonderful experience of camping, and he presented the wilderness survival workshop. And that was well presented by him. And as you can see, people are taking notes, making sure they're getting all their stuff that they need to. Again, digestive walks. Beautiful location there at Shirley and Gerald Fordham's place. I think they have about 20 odd or so acres. Timothy was very helpful with Gerard. Here's Anya. This was an excellent workshop. This is the foraging workshop. Now, we've just been out. Part of our the challenge, last challenge for the year, is to go out and do some walking, putting our boots on. But we were also foraging, so we've got some chamomile, we've got dandelion, and we've got some female nettle. So you take the seeds, dry them, and they're excellent to put in soups or put in your cereal, etc. Very nutritious. But these are the things. She took us not even 50 yards along a lane, and we had a wealth of plants, an amazing amount of plants up there that she just showed us. Some were good for women, some were good for this, and some were good for that. This is poison. This is careful with this one. If you touch this one, this is bad for you. You know, all this sorts of stuff. It was awesome. Some and this, I think I can't remember what day it was. Thursday or something like this. When people turned up on Sabbath, they had heard about the foraging walk, and whew, that was us again. We were out there, and there was a crowd of people. Right in the middle was Anya trying to make herself heard. Wonderful family, Anya, Andy, and Timek, her son. And I would recommend them. He's a physio. And Timek and a couple of others, and Maxine Dennis, they made a very lovely wood shelter. Here's she doing her soap making workshop. She was the one who did it in Wales. That's Gerard, he's the host. This is their tent that they put up. They have that purchase. Their whole ministry for life. I've known Shirley and Gerard since 1989 when I moved to Portsmouth when I was in the Navy. And they had just recently got married. They had a health food shop down there. Their whole life has been about ministry outreach and connecting with people and teaching them the right way. It's been a life well lived from my perspective. This is some of the people from London. There's Robert in the background. He's from Leicester. He's a doctor. That's Sade. She's as you can see, wonderful hairdresser. Just a range of people from all over who came together to learn, to share, and to be strengthened by the company. And there's Anya doing her presentation and teaching. And there's Wendy Jackson. She did a sprouting workshop. That's Timothy standing there. And lots of people around. Sprouting, you have to sprout, people. Beans and sprouting are your nutrient-rich way of overcoming cancers. You can get the water from the beans, the cooked beans, and you can wash your dishes with it. And it'll be squeaky clean. You can wash your skin and wash your hair with it. That's what it does on the outside. It also does the same inside. Beans are a superfood. We had her on a presentation doing that. It was fantastic. Okay, so that's our sprouting workshop. And this is some of the land that Gerald and Shirley prepared beforehand. They knew we were coming, so just as with Justin and Rosanna, prepared land so that Wendy could show how to plant. Here she is, she's planting in tomatoes, and she planted them so different. They were so deep, and there were just loads of water, and the land was enriched and everything like that, and it was excellent. And we'll show you the results of that as well in such a short time. And it was raining there. This was the day before, and we're helping to do the last piece of the presentation there, digging and preparing. And she's showing us how to double dig. So you dig one layer, then you go down the other and you tease it out, and then you put the other layer back. So that was double digging. On the next slide, we have some of the land, and you have swaths of land together. So you might have one swathe That is your crops. Then the next to it, you'll have your green manure swathe, and that might have some alfalfa or other things. And those things you grow, you walk on that bit, and you'll grow them, and you'll chop them, and you'll put them into this area here. You'll cover the plants around it, so you just see the plants pricking up out of it, and they do so well, and the end results. Here's everyone doing that. Now these are the results, and this was 3 weeks ago, was it approximately? Um, Last week she presented it, but it would have obviously come in before. So here you can see the green manure beside it, and the other things are growing, and everything is just lush and green and veritable. It was amazing to see it. And we should come up here to our place and help to us, to be honest. Okay, so we'll get on to the next slide. And these are some of the things that she's also grown. This was all the things we worked on whilst we were there. So it was practical. And these are the tomatoes at the other side that you saw her planting in. Um, there's so much was planted, and it's all mixed together. It's all living so well. Um, that's Andy and Timothy. They were doing the wood fuel processing workshop, and they're getting city people to split wood and safely without chopping ourselves. And here's Brother Robert doing it with a Fisker axe, and that's some of the wood that's been processed. And here's Jackie. Now, Jackie was the one that gave up her accommodation, her home, for Sister Bona. I tell you, and it was, and we at the end of it, we said, okay, how much? And she goes, no, no, it's okay. I was blessed, and yeah, that's why my heart bursts with the people of God, because when they're put to the test, they are not found wanting. And here again at the end, we have a music, which was wonderful. It was really good. So that's the end of our slideshow. And we are considering another camp, possibly in England, and that might well be at the Feast of Tabernacles, and that will be Friday, so Friday the 25th, and it'll be a longer camp. And we shall see if we can get the instructors together again for that period of time. It's not, or if not, it will be next year. We will certainly, and we'll start in England. We had one in Scotland, and we had one in Wales. So the next one has to be in England, as like the Levites were scattered throughout the land of Israel. They didn't have their own land given to them, but they had cities, which would be cities of refuge, and they were scattered so that people could get there. And so hopefully we'll be able to have that camp in England. So it's either at the Feast of Tabernacles or it will be first feast of next year. Our final challenge for this year started today. It commenced today. And well, some were starting that challenge already from earlier on in the week. We saw pictures of people with their boots in different places. Others are going to be starting it later this week, but the majority of us went out, and we went out doing our walks, and they're posting the pictures of themselves and things that they've picked up, berries. Up here in Scotland, the elderberry isn't ready at all, but further down south, fulsome berries that you could, wonderful to process and have some elderberry wine or cordial or honey, all sorts of stuff, and some other berries that were there as well. So the dates for the challenge are today was 2nd of August and the 13th of September. And then you've got 4th of October, which is going to be an overnighter. So we're asking people to stay out. And then we've got the 23rd and 25th as well. So we're looking for 4 dates. But the 3 are the most important. So this one was just a walkout. Get your boots, what you're missing, how they're fitting. Do you need any extra stuff? And make sure you got your own orienteering map, your ordnance survey map, and find a place to walk. The next one is the 13th of September, where you will be using that map to go from point A to point B and return. So you're going to orientate, use the map to go from such and such a place to another place, putting the skills that we've learned into practice. And then we're going to go an overnight. So we're going to go out for one night stay and then come back. So we'll have to have your firefighter, you have to have your extra clothes, pants and socks, something to wash and water, or maybe find a water source close by, which we'll be able to, utilize with some treatment or whatever. So these are the things that have to be prepared. And these are getting people into the understanding of, will I be able to go out when it's getting challenging? When the Spirit of the Lord is withdrawn and people become spiritual zombies, when they become full of the spirit of the adversary, will I be able to handle what's coming? Can I do it? Yes, you can. Whatever the situation you are in, yes, you will be able to. But you have to apply yourself. You can't just sit down there and expect the Lord to just get up and say, oh, okay. And you've done nothing. Noah built the ark. He's filled it, hoping that, he didn't know how long it's going to be, but which was approximately a year, he had to put food in place for all of these animals and himself. He had to put all his resources into it. Joseph didn't know how bad, he just knew it's going to be one of the worst famines. He didn't stop. He didn't stop storing up. He just stopped recording how much he was storing because he had so much. There was enough rooms and rooms full of tablets, clay tablets, where they were recording how much in each of the nomes of Egypt. So he just stopped recording, but he carried on storing. He carried on storing. He didn't stop. And this is very important for us today. We have to be prepared. We have to do what the Lord has asked us to do. We know the sun is going to scorch man. We know there'll be a challenge with water. These are things we're going to have to look at. We know we won't be able to buy and sell. We won't be able to trade. And if we're trading today to have our sustenance, what's going to happen? We have to really get back to the agricultural aspect of it. We have to understand that tithe isn't money. Tithe has always been food, that there may be meat in my house. No money was brought into the sanctuary for tithe. Never. It was always living. That's why Yahshua says, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Render unto God what is his. He's the God of the living, not the dead. And there's a very important aspect. So once we realize that, we will start to transfer our allegiance from this world out of Babylon and into the kingdom of heaven. That's what we really need to be. So when it comes to translation, it's no problem. We'll be like Enoch. You're so there, come up here. These are the aspects we need to do. We need to start preparing. Are we going to be ready for it? And that's what the burden of our hearts has been, to continue to keep going forward. Like the Ephesians, they lost their first love. You lost your first love. One thing I have of you, you lost your first love. We want to keep pushing on, pressing on. So that's important. So this was our third challenge for the year. Next year, we'll have more. We might rekindle some of the old ones. Let's make it a little bit more stringent, more challenging. But we have to keep going forward, my brothers and sisters. Have to. And then we just have, because of the challenge of coming together, people are, sometimes a little daunted alone. We realize that people need to be brought together. So we've commissioned a survey. We have that survey. It's been sent out, and people are sending their surveys in. We're not having anything digital. It could be done online, but I don't want no information coming to us digital. It's all coming hard copy. And so there'll be no, nothing coming from ourselves. Because whilst we're at the camp, we did have a challenge at the Ayrshire camp. There was a party who turned up, and that party had scammed some of the members whilst we're at the camp. And this was a problem that we saw. Can you see the questionnaire? Yeah, so this is the questionnaire. that we sent out electronically, and people are to return hard copy. Because we've been burned. Somebody came up and whilst at the camp they were trying to make merchandise of the people of God. So and that's and trying to get people to trust in Babylon, and we've got to come out of Babylon. So that happened. So if you do need that, if you want to have that questionnaire and feed it in, we'll have people in their locales, and we'll try and get people joined up together. That's already started happening. We had a property. The purpose of the questionnaire, thanks, Rona, is to find out where people are, is to help people focus on perhaps what they need to do, but primarily to bring people together, because the prophecy, the spirit of prophecy council tells us that two or three perhaps can come together, no more than that. We had the challenges of, we've seen Waco. Although it was a fantastic experience for some, it did bring down doom upon people's heads. People came out from Waco and said the spirituality, the time they had there, was so amazing, but it wasn't according to the counsel of the Lord, and that's why it fell foul. And we must always walk with the counsel of the Lord. Where you get your property, it's advised to have this, to have that, that. How much land you ought to have. This is the advice. Each party, if you want information on that, Amazing Discoveries has lots of information about and are teaching people how much and what they need to do to really deal with the situation that's going to be here. A lot of people think it's just going to be a short time. They think it's going to blow over quickly. But like Noah, he didn't know how long it was going to be. He knew how long it was going to rain for, but he didn't know how long it was going to be. Total challenge. So he had to make sure he had enough. And he just could not be certain he had enough. So until the very end, the Lord had said, all right, now get in. Go on. Enough already. You've done enough. Go in. But go in. 7 days and it'll bring a flood upon the earth. Joseph knew it's going to be famine. It's going to be hard. That the good days won't be remembered. So he had to keep on storing up. So these are the aspects that we really have to remember and don't forget. So that's the aspect of it. Do we really understand and appreciate what is coming upon us? This is you might think that we harp on about this, but different prophets had different agendas. They spoke, they were given a mission, a commission. William Miller, he was given the commission of the angels, and I will send my angels, and they shall gather them together. And he did. He brought people together who sought God. When that test on their metal, less than 1% were left. Over 50,000 people in North America were joined into this Advent movement. When the 1844 bitter, great disappointment happened, less than 1%, 50 were there together, staying true to the word. So these are the challenges what we're going to have to face, and we'll see them again. But there's nothing new under the sun. So that's our presentation. That's what we are doing. Okay, yeah, we have a song to close it off before we finish, and then you can ask some questions. Okay, my wife will share this song. It's a song that the children wrote and together, and I thought it was a lovely song. It looks like it's not going to play. So
we'll leave it there. Trevor, team, we'll hand it back to you. That's what we're up to. So camp either 25th of September. If we do get some presenters together, that information will come out in the next week or 10 days. So people have a little time to prepare for it, not as much as some people would hope. If not, it will be next year, God willing. Yeah. So and challenges. So that for the next four challenges, next four installments, or the next three installments of this final challenge for the year, you should get on board, get your equipment, um, get your fire starting equipment, try them out, walk around your house in your boots, get them shaped into your foot. My wife put on her boots today, and they were rubbing her ankles. So she's got to put on some extra socks and get ready for the next installment to make sure they don't rub. So yeah,
I see. Now,
ready. Hand over to you.
Thank you very much for what you've shared. It's quite interesting to see how you've organized these camp meetings. So, am I right in thinking that the survival skill workshops that you've been having at each of these camps are preparing those that are taking up the challenges to put what they've learned into practice, and then by the time they come to the overnight challenge, they've got more or less all the skills they need to have in place to be able to successfully complete the overnight challenge?
Yeah, that's it. We had, lots of what I'm telling you, it was really good. The camp meeting was so together. There was brilliant food, and people put up with stuff. That in Wales it was more rustic and hard. There was one shower and people had to really deal with that. And but people did, and then they have to walk up the hill and down the hill and all this sorts of stuff. But people went through it because they recognized the need. And these are people, young ladies who came in, and you would never expect them to be thinking that they would do it. But when you saw who that was, goes, oh, so this is the first time you see them and say, oh, and I'm thinking, wow, she's pretty, like sort of stuff, and yet she's there getting out spade out and putting some of the men to shame. I'm telling you. So it was really really good. And so these experiences that we had, the instruction that we had, the foraging aspects that we had. Today, when I went out with Rona, because she wasn't there in the foraging workshop, because that was just in Wales, I was like, hey, that is cassava. That's what Anya showed me, and it's good for women's health. It was logged in my head. So anytime anybody has any challenges like that, you can steep some tea, you can drink that, or you can pulse it and make it, wash it down. These are the things that we learn.
You said cassava.
Yeah, it's a slim leaf, and she referred to it as cassava. Yeah.
The same one that you eat?
No, not whether it's the same one you eat, but it was referred to as cassava, and it has a very, it deals with women's aspects. So these are the kind of things. Yeah, these are the kind of. My wife took a picture of it and posted it out, and just to kind of concur that I was remembering what it was, and when it could feedback. But yeah, so it's to make sure that what was learned we now put into practice. We have to put it into practice. I'm an old military guy, and before you send your guys out, you put them through exercise. You train them. If you're going to be fighting in Iraq, you don't send them to Norway to do mountain warfare training in cold weather. You have to put them in the environment that they're going to be in. So that's what we've tried to do. We try to do, yeah.
I see. And what sort of survival skills is it that each of these camps have touched on? I'm assuming that there's not too much repetition, but there probably is some overlap.
Yes, it was a lot of repetition because there were only 2 or 3 people who were in the Ayrshire camp went to the Wales camp.
Right.
Sister Bola, as I mentioned, there was Sheldine, there was Maxine Dennis as well, and so they overlapped, and they got a double dip, and that showed me the willingness and keenness of where they wanted and what they wanted to do. They understand the truth of it, So some of the practical skills, we were out walking, we're hiking some areas that some of the kids enjoyed. That I didn't do a lot of that. I'd fall
Mhm.
down and have to be picked up. Yeah, and then there was the fire starting equipment, and that was good because I kind of think, yeah, I'm going to be able to do this. Oh, baby, we didn't get it done, and someone Robert had to come over and say, "This is how you do it now. Put your stuff together like this, and stop doing it your own way." And then
Right, right, right.
and then it lit within the 2 or 3 strikes, and you go, okay, okay, all right, I hear you.
I
So
see.
those
I
are the kind
see.
of things we did. Some charcoal making, charcoal, which is very good medicinally for water filtration, all those sorts of stuff. So
Mhm.
paint tins with a hole in the middle, metal paint tins with a lid in. You put green sticks in there.
Mhm.
It has to be green, and then you put it in a fire, and you'll see the gaseousness and everything. First the steam, and then the gases burning off and shooting off like a jet from this. And when that stops, you got charcoal.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
brilliant. And you take it out, and there it was. It was fantastic. And you can use that for purifying things, for healing and purgings and stuff like that.
Mm.
So these are some of the practical skills that we had. We had map orienteering as well,
Mhm.
how to read the map and orientate it correctly so you know where to go from A to B, how many steps you're going to be taking. So if somebody's counting your steps, that's all their job is, count the steps. So after a period of how many steps you've gone, 2 miles.
Mhm.
So you should be such and such a place on the map.
Right.
You see, so that's all. So those are the things that you realize that need to be done. Somebody's got to do that. Some people have work to do in going from A to B. So, yeah, that's right. So
So
put them in practice.
got two questions here. First
Go on.
question is, why did End Time Living decide to put on camp meetings? And the second part of the question is, how did those camp meetings achieve their purposes?
Okay, so why did we decide to put on camp meetings? One, I think it was proposed. Two, we felt the need for people to the primary role reason was networking, for people to become familiar with people in certain locales and certain areas, people who are all over the country, um, and we need to get together and help each other when it
Mhm.
comes to harvesting. Like the Amish, they'll come together and they'll harvest the place, and they get it down quick. Make hay while the sun shines. That sun. We're up here in Scotland, and we live
Mhm.
in a farming sort of belt, and you'll see during the night, you'll see the tractors and the harvesters working through the night, because there's a window of opportunity to bring in the harvest.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they'll get it done right there and then. It doesn't matter whether and they'll be storming by with huge buckets of trucks of grass and grain and everything. And
Mhm.
we get our fair share of that. The kids will go and gather it from the road, and we've planted a barley field of it down in the land. That's just the stuff that's falling from the road. So but these are the aspects that are there. So it was actually about bringing people together to help each other,
Right.
um, um, and also to get people out and encourage. Sometimes people are a little bit daunted on their own,
Mhm.
and especially a lot of end time living. Probably 90% are single female,
Mm.
and so that text where it says 7 women shall cleave unto one man is truly coming to bear within the Church of God, the Kingdom of Heaven. um, Fervent um, women, women who are, and very few men, you know, very few men, very few men. There are some men. Majority of them are with people as well. They're married, but majority of the people who are wanting this are women.
That's
And it's
interesting.
where are the men and why? So that question has been raised. Um, so yeah, so they have to come together and help each other. They have to come
Mhm.
together and help each other. They're going to have to strive to overcome the challenges that they will meet, the tests that they'll face.
And also, we had a lot of theory Zoom meetings.
What was that? We had a lot of
We had
theory.
a lot of
Okay, yeah, Rona's reminded me. We've had a lot of theory, the canning,
Okay.
food preservation.
Yeah.
We had the dental hygiene.
Mhm.
What else? What else? Lots and lots of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did the theory.
we did theory. So it was time to put, yeah, once it's time to put these things practically. We had a feedback afterwards, and we've taken note of that.
Mhm.
One of the things we need more time
Right. Yep.
and and really dig down harder into the practical aspects of some of these things.
Mhm.
So and take more time over them. We tried to cram it too much, put a
Right.
lot in, but
Mhm.
the next time we'll really be specific. We wanted people to go away with skill set.
Yep.
Yeah.
And would you
Was
say
that a
that,
second question?
yeah, the second part of it was about whether or not the camps met their purpose?
Yeah, yes, they did. I would say
Mhm.
they met the purpose of bringing people together. People know
Mhm.
each other more. Um, they learned skills. Um, there's more to do. There's more to do. There's without a doubt there is more to do.
Mhm.
We, you know, um, the people of God are they need just like even Moses, who was one of the greatest statesmen the world has ever seen, and one of the greatest leaders. Forget about Alexander the Great or Caesar or Napoleon. Moses was awesome, and yet he himself needed help when his father-in-law Jethro came and saw how he was doing things. He advised him and said, "Brother, you're going to wear the people out, and you're going to wear out yourself." So he learned from his father-in-law. So there are people who have instruction and information from which we are to garner and learn and be better equipped for
Yep.
what's to come ahead.
Mhm.
To
Then,
always don't stand still.
yeah, yeah, understand. And then I got a question. You referred to the beans and sprouting. So the
Mm.
person's asking, is it the water from cooking the beans, or the water used that is the water used to wash the beans, or is it the water used to wash the beans before you cook them in, that
It's
you use
the
to wash your skin and the dishes and your hair?
Yeah, that question has been asked of Wendy when she presented it, and
Yeah.
later on End Time Living, it was presented again. The question was asked because everyone's thinking, "What?" Yes, it's the water that you cook the beans in. The
Okay.
water you cook the beans in, and then that water, believe it, is when you wash your dishes. It's forget about squeaky clean fairy. you know, this is beans water. Add it to your water. It doesn't have to lather, because we think anything that lathers is going to be successful. This doesn't
Yeah.
have to lather at all, but it cleans. Now, if that does externally, and somebody's Sister Hazel, I have to proclaim her. She tried it straight away, and she came back and said, "Man, my hair was not has never been so soft." That's what she
Mm,
said. Never been so soft. Her body feels clean and nice.
mm,
My brother advocates the use of just water to
mm,
wash your skin. We
mm.
we we sometimes rely on man-made chemicals, and we think
Yeah.
have to have it. No, water. The Lord gave us water to cleanse ourselves with. And if you want to take some green herbs and add that to like beat them into your water is good. But add some bean cooked water,
And
you're
it,
good to go.
and it's any beans or a specific type of bean that.
Any beans, any
Mm,
beans, any
okay.
beans, any beans. Yeah, it will do it.
So what's in the beans that actually, or what's on the outside of the beans that has all these properties?
What is in the beans? Oh, I would have to. I did. Did she say what it was? Did we ask her what it was that helped to do it? I've got, what is it? The property in the bean that did that cleansing? She must have told us. I I think we asked her.
Mhm,
I think we did ask her at the time. I think we did. We did ask her
mhm.
what it was that actually um, did the cleansing. Um, it's on a Zoom presentation. that we have to upload. We're not as good as you guys. You know, we'll have to upload, we'll have to upload it at some point. But oh no, have you done it?
Yeah, it's been uploaded.
It's uploaded.
It's
Woohoo!
not on
Oh, it's not on YouTube,
Yeah.
but it was on End Time Living.
Yeah.
Yeah, we presented it onto End Time Living. So it's not on
Oh,
YouTube yet, but
okay.
it's a excellent. Beans is the superfood that we should have. We should all be eating beans. You know,
Oh,
beans is the food that we, any kind of those legumes, peas and lentils and all sorts. We have to make the majority of our diet has to be in that.
mm,
We bear too much on the starches and other ways. You know, those things, those beans are fantastic. And then sprouting them,
mhm.
sprouting beans and seeds and stuff like that. The nutritional value just exponentially goes up, logarithmically increases when you sprout food,
I
and they
see.
help fight cancers. They help fight illness and disease. Okay.
I see. Oh, that's very interesting. Very, yeah, very useful information. I was going to ask about the double digging, how that worked. Is it a case of you you dig out you dig and then the stuff that you've dug you put to the side and then you kind of dig through that, or you dig another level and then you put the stuff that you dug up the first time back on top of what you.
Yeah, so you're going to dig down. It's a 2 foot. Now, the problem is you want to be digging deep. Now, even Ellen G. White talks about digging deep. Um,
Mhm,
but what you don't want to do is when you go underneath that first foot layer
mhm.
of soil, you're into the fungal networks. Now, fungal networks transmit messages. So a tree over
Yeah,
here is being attacked by a certain thing. It will send out messages, and a certain other thing will hear and come to its aid.
mm,
That is the intricate nature. In fact, dirt thou art, and unto dirt, dust shalt thou return.
mm.
Our bodies are okay. So we know, I'm jumping from point to point, forgive me. We know that chlorophyll and blood, there's only one element difference in them. I can't remember
Yeah,
what it was, but there's only
yeah.
one.
Mhm,
Right. So chlorophyll is very similar to blood. So our bodies use the blood. The plant uses the chlorophyll. And the symbiotic, no, not symbiotic, similarities between how our bodies and the earth um, exists is is amazing. Is
mhm.
amazing. You know, we talked about the covering. The earth requires a covering. We require a covering. We are to be covered. And the earth requires covering. We have water, the earth needs water. We have nutrients, minerals, and stuff, the same thing the earth needs. These are the aspects. We also need sunlight, just as the earth needs sunlight. Without that sunlight, we go downhill. So there's so much similarity, so many similarities. So you have this fungal network transmitting information back and forth. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet between
Mm,
trees and stuff like that, and they're connected. You can have one fungal spore, and fungi is part animal, part plant. It's in its
right.
own category. That's why you shouldn't be eating mushrooms, but that's another thing. Okay. So they have this action, and they communicate together and transmit things, and there's so much life underneath in that soil. So
Mhm,
when you with tractors come along and plow the land. You go very, very deep, but you disrupt the whole networks. You chop them up.
mhm.
You literally chop them up. Um, if you know anything what a termination for a child is like, that's what happens in the soil. You're chopping it up. It's very gruesome, but that's what is happening. I think if people recognize what happens, then they might not, do it either in the soil or in their own womb.
Mm,
Okay, so um, it destroys it, and it breaks down all the communications and everything. So it separates again plants individually, and it separates them, and that's always what the adversary does. So we need to dig down the 1 foot, turn that soil over,
remove it, and then we dig down another foot without fork, and then don't dig it out, but you just open it, you rock it back and forth, you make spaces, and then you go along to the next section, you dig out that bit, okay, and then you put that on the bit you've just dug. Do you understand?
Right.
And then
Right.
you tweeze down for the next foot, airing it out and breaking it up, but you don't separate it. And then you go into the next bit, and the bit you've just teased out, the 1 foot, you turn it over onto that one. And so the original 1 foot that you took out at the beginning will go in at the end. That's how it works. So you just work along like that, you're moving your soil onto the next space, and you're just bringing air into the bottom section. So the ground is light, and you never walk on your ground, never walk on it. You never walk on it. And then you cover it. So once so your bed has got to be just wide enough so you can reach all of it without going on it. But you're going to
Right.
walk on the green manure section that you have on either side.
Mhm.
So you're going to walk on the left hand side of it, and you'll be walk on the green manure section of it, and you're planting your stuff, and you go on the other side, be planting your stuff, and then you'll cover where you've planted and where you've dug, turned over, with the covering that you chop from the green manure. And as that green manure, and you don't pull out the green manure, you chop it. So you leave the roots in. It'll grow up
Right.
again. The roots allow air and moisture to go down into the ground.
Right.
Are you sure? Okay. So this is the aspect of it. And you are covering the soil. So where those greens were planted, you can see there's actually rotting material. Because
Mhm.
we actually, before we left, it was raining on the day. We covered between all those leaks. Were they leaks or not? They're leaks. We covered between them, and that's now broken down and feeding the ground.
Right.
And
Mhm.
that's yeah, and it's totally different to how I grew up with in the allotments.
Mm.
Totally different. You know, I know towards one stage of it, my dad was starting to cover, chop and cut and drop, as they'd say, um, cut the weeds and drop them where they are, and allow that to, or put them out and take them, that sort of stuff. Yeah, he'd pick
Right.
out the weeds in the area and then drop them so that they would cover the ground.
Right.
But he never had the green manure section growing right there. And in today's high cost fertilizer
Yeah.
problem,
Yep.
this is how the Lord has provided that we ensure we maximize. So you've got the green section on the right, you've a permanent um, grow bed in the middle, and then the green section on the left. Now you're thinking, okay, so with that green section in the middle where my permanent bed where I'm growing my stuff, well, I'm losing that what's on the right and that's what's on the left. You
Right.
will produce 5 times, 4 to 5 times more produce in that bed in the middle than the whole lot. That's how successful it is, and I've seen it with my own eyes because my brother, um, he was in Florida, and we did it in Florida. When he came, that's the first time I met her. You see, and she came
Right.
and he brought all his church members there, and they were doing the planting and all this sorts of stuff, and the rest of his ground was done ordinarily. Where Wendy had planted the stuff and we'd covered it with alfalfa and we put the green manure and we planted the tree bed on the right hand side and the tree bed connecting on the other side. A lot of work.
Mhm.
That piece of land and growth was exponentially more than any other place in his
Mm.
land, which he watered, which he did ordinarily. The land that he had was hugely different. The land we had worked on in his land was hugely different compared to his ordinary
Mm.
ground. And I saw the testimony of it.
I see.
I saw the testimony. And these are some of the produce as well that were growing up so well. This is outside, beautiful tomatoes outside growing up. Yeah. So syntropic gardening is the term. Syntropic
Mm.
gardening.
Have to look
Yeah,
some more into that. Yeah, that's very interesting. I have to look some more into syntropic gardening.
that's right. That's
Mm.
right.
Well, don't believe there are any further questions. Let me just been
Hmm.
checking Yeah, I don't see any further questions. Check my phone, see if anyone.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful experience, the camp. The Lord, the whole thing about seek you first, this titles, as I said,
Hmm.
I was challenged, and then the Lord, I was trying to get work myself.
Hmm.
I was trying to get this job and trying to get that. Got a job, where the job I wanted, and then a few days before I was supposed to start, they said, "Oh, due to the war, and due to the cost of this and that, we're going to have to let you go." They let me go before I even started working. They paid me for, paid me wages because I'd already signed up, paid me for not even working. But I was like, "What's going on?" Concentrated on getting these things sorted, and then the Lord sent somebody round to our home and said, "Would you like to work?" You know,
Wow.
I'm just, and that's where I'm working now. It's
Mhm.
astounding, astounding, astounding. Concentrating on his thing. He, it's a testimony. It's a testimony. Yeah.
Bless.
So, yeah, that whole aspect of bringing people together. We wanted to be more practical next time. Wanted to be
Hmm.
more challenging next
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
great
So
stuff.
people are prepared for what's to come.
Hmm.
All
Thank you
right.
very much for what you've shared, and we look
Okay.
forward to um, getting further updates in the future as to how these tomatoes turned out. We see that there's quite a big jump between the picture that we saw where you just planting them out and the next
Yeah.
one where they were all seem to be well established. So
Yeah.
be looking to
Yeah.
see looking forward to see what the harvest looks like and how the fruit compared to what's readily available in the shops.
So, amen. For now, ready, available for now.
That's it. That's it. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Blessings, blessings.
Right. So, friends, we're thankful that you joined us this evening, whether you joined us in Zoom or you've been watching us live via YouTube or Facebook. We thank you for your time and I trust that you've been blessed by the testimony that's been shared by Ernest and Rona of the camp meetings that they've been putting on for the benefit of bringing a greater number of people together and up to speed and having the confidence to make it in the countryside until the Lord comes. So our next session will be the first Sunday of September, and we'll have another series on another aspect of country living. And until then, pray that you may remain blessed and that you will go forward and you'll start preparing and making the most of the time that you have in order to be ready for when that crisis comes and things change. So thank you once again. And if I could ask you, Ernest, if you could do the closing prayer for us.
Okay. Yes, thank you. And blessings to everyone. Merciful Heavenly Father, thank you very much for enlightening your servants with understanding to share with us so that we can be prepared, that we can be ready, and having done all, as Ephesians 6 says, we stand against the wiles of the enemy, the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places. So help us to prepare ourselves, to steep ourselves in your word, to understand who he is and what he does for us, and to do, for he says, if you love me, keep my commandments. Listen to what I'm telling you. So help us to be ready. I pray that you'll continue to bless this portal, the Journey Planner, so it can continue to reach people and help people to understand the truth of their time. Present truth is what we need, so they can go forward with strength, that he who runs can run with certainty and understanding. For they have not just written the vision, they have displayed the vision very well. Any mishaps and miscommunications and the electrics of this world, we know the challenges that we face, and adversity, Prince of the Air will come to test. But we thank you for allowing us to get through with the message. Bless everyone who's been here. Bless those who are not. We all need your presence in our lives. We thank you, Father, in Yeshua's holy and precious name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. So thank you once again. And we look forward to seeing you again first Sunday in September. God bless.
Thank you again for watching the Journey Planner SDA. Remember to subscribe, like, and share the links to our YouTube and Facebook broadcasts. See you at the next episode.